Well, thank you so much, Michael, for some time with this wonderful group of colleagues here. Like I said, I'm Katherine McEldoon. I am lead learning scientist at Pearson. And I cannot tell you how pleased I've been to stumble across this group and all of you over the last year or so, because this is precisely what our team at Pearson does. We didn't know it, but we're a learning engineering team. And I'm so happy to share a little bit today about a large multi-year project that we've been working on where we take very seriously scaling in the insights from the science of learning into product design. And one thing that's been great about joining the team that I did at Pearson was we do take the position as an industry leader historically to bring in really top-notch practices into product design. I want to share a little bit about all of this with you all today. So preaching to the choir a little bit here, but I think we all know that it's really imperative for educational technology products to be built to actually move the needle on outcomes. And by the way, there's this whole science of learning that provides wonderful insights into how to do that better. And so our team historically in 2013 has made a commitment to publicly reporting on outcomes. And so we've done that. Our team has all sorts of really rigorous externally reviewed efficacy reports. We are industry leaders in doing that. As our team was figuring this out through the 20 teens, we kind of found out along the way that, oh gosh, well, we should measure outcomes. That's good. But in order to do that even better, we should build in with learning science derived designs from the start. So we've shifted as an organization to really building in as we go from the genesis of a product development process, building in those learning science-based insights and using that through, and then so we can measure learning on the outside. Now, like I said, we didn't even know we were doing it, but we were doing learning engineering all along the way. I saw this and I fell out of my chair. I'm like, oh, this is our team's operating model. This is precisely what we do. In various ways. And so what I want to share a little bit with you today is how we bring in to this process, how we bring in the science of learning so we can do creation, design thinking, iterating, MVP building, testing, data instrumentation, and all of that. So, we all know that the science of learning is a wonderful resource for all of us. And we've worked very hard to summarize this vast body of scholarship into relevant and actionable insights so we can create better learning experiences faster with fewer mistakes along the way. When we were all together at MIT, I don't know if any of you, if you all got the opportunity to go to the conference over the summer, but Bohr was actually giving a kind of capstone talk for the end of one of the days. And he said, what the field needs is a really nice summary of the science of learning that we can pick up and use for design. And I nearly fell out of my chair because I was like, that's what we've been working on. That's what we're doing. And so I'm so pleased to finally be at a point where I can start sharing this project out with the community. So my predecessors on the team did a version of this. They're like, great, we need some learning design principles. There's a lot of good stuff out there. They pulled together this very nice set of research summaries. If you look at this, you can see things like motivation design, metacognition, learning transfer, worked examples, things like that. This is great. Excellent stuff in here. If, however, you are not someone like us and you get shown this list, your eyes glaze over and you're like, oh my gosh, what is this? Too much. So what my team did, and I started off this initiative with Dan Belenke, who's joined me on the call here, where we're like, okay, all of this information is really great. And let's think about everything we've ever read and let's do a really comprehensive survey of all of the learning sciences literatures and be like, okay, what's the entire world of everything that we need to consider and to pull it together. And when it comes to what do we need to know about the psychology of learning to support really excellent learning design. And we pulled this together into a really nice model. And I'm going to say model because there's this wonderful paper by Jeremy Rochelle of Digital Promise who surfaces that a lot of learning science competency is about model building. And that a lot of what we do as learning scientists, particularly early to mid-career learning scientists, is build really excellent models. And so what I'm going to show you is really cute, but don't dismiss it because it's a really excellent and elegant model of everything you need to consider for the learning sciences. And so across all of that and across surfacing all my colleagues' professional expertise, we landed on this nice little model of learning happens best when. Learning happens best when it's a welcoming experience. Um, it's engaging, it's positive, maybe even a little fun, even when it's hard. Learners can believe they can succeed and are motivated to achieve their goals. Learning is inclusive and social and best done with alongside others. In this pocket here, we have learning design principles of motivation and mindset, social and collaborative learning, and affective and emotive learning. Learning should also be built for how the mind learns, right? There are things about human cognitive architecture that are very useful to know when you're building a learning design experience, but really here it's all about building connected and meaningful, usable knowledge, right? That really excellent schema building, connecting to prior knowledge, all that stuff here. So building, designing things for that level of optimal challenge, right? So here we've got developing understanding, AKA expertise acquisition, attention, cognitive load, desirable difficulty and scaffolding, active learning, memory and practice, and of course, feedback. Learning happens best when it supports good learning behavior. We should also be helping our learners develop their own toolkit for lifelong learning. They not only gain content knowledge, but they also take charge of their learning and gain insights into their own process. We want to support their metacognitive awareness. Kayla, thank you so much for all of your help on this one. Kayla's a metacognition expert, and so she was instrumental in bringing together a lot of this work. We also want to support learners in making good decisions about their learning and study time to get the most out of their experience. So here we have some support on self-regulated learning. These other two we haven't developed yet, but they're kind of my more business marketing people asked me to kind of throw those in. I was like, okay. We also want to make sure there's purposeful design. Now, this is the kind of under the hood stuff that's really, really important for efficacy-based product development. Instructional alignment ensures laser focus on the right stuff. Learning objectives and purposeful instruction moves the learner toward the outcome that matter, will help them get there. So we have to have really good learning objectives. Please, can we start with an evidence-centered design model and use that to inform instruction and assessment development? By the way, digital learning environments are really great for supporting personalized learning and adaptive instruction. Here's some things you should know about that. And also, let's build authentic learning experiences. Also, great learning can happen anywhere, and there's some contextual guidance that we can give you to help you along the way. This is a bit of a catch-all for all of the kind of modality, discipline-specific, and learner-specific guidance from the research literature we might want to gather up. So in sum, this really paints a picture of the optimal learning experience we want the learners to have. We want the learner to be feeling all of these things, right? We want them to feel confident and positive, encouraged. We want them to feel cognitively challenged and supported. We want them to be supporting their learning, metacognition, self-regulated learning, and all that good stuff. So this paints a picture, this paints a bit of a North Star of what we're going for when we're designing any sort of learning experience. Now, academics in the house over here, just under the hood, if we go to the research literature around some of the scholarship around learner engagement, many of the kind of current scholars who are thinking about this stuff really center in on a couple different factors of learner engagement. These are both theoretically and empirically kind of derived and worn out. So this is a really nice, scientific undergirding for this model here, right? We say learner engagement, okay, whatever. What do you mean? What type of engagement, right? We want cognitive engagement, we want affective engagement. And so we pull this into this model. This also gives us clues about what we can measure to measure learning outcomes, right? So if we build in motivation design and we make it this welcoming experience, we're supporting belongingness, we're supporting, all that good stuff. What would we expect to see when we get it right? We would expect to see good affective engagement, good social engagement. And by the way, There's all sorts of clues and constructs that we could measure to gather evidence of that's working. So that's the big conceptual picture. We've been working on building out this toolkit underneath all of this. And so right now, this toolkit exists as rigorous research literature reviews. Kayla, thank you for writing one of those. We then have been pulling these into communicative presentation decks that we'll use internally. And then right now, we're working on building brief summary reports, about 14 pages long. We will be publishing those publicly with a Creative Commons license very soon, that I'm so excited to share that out with all of you so we can all grab it and like go nuts. Right. So yay, thank you, Erin. I'm so excited about that. And Dan Blanky, you were helping me with one of these. Thank you for that. Okay, so within this toolkit, a couple features I want to call out, and I'll breeze you through some of these incredibly quickly. But basically, all of these learning design principles are have an up-to-date and really rigorous learning science research base. They're organized around key findings, or what we're calling big ideas from the research literature. These big ideas, and this is what I think is the absolute linchpin, these are tightly paired with design implications and product examples. So it's like, this is what motivation theory has to say. By the way, this is what this means for designing learning. And by the way, this is what this looks like. We also have empirically derived outcomes measures and metrics, or suggested outcomes measures. And then these are some look fors, and these are some ways you could do that. We also kind of need to do a little bit of marketing and getting like product managers interested in what this would do for them, right? And so we have a bit of a lead with challenges this helps solve, marketing claims one could make if you implement it well. We also tried to take a very rigorous effort with ensuring that our research base wasn't just replicating the weird problem, right? And so we were very thoughtful about gathering from any research that we cited in these literature reviews, who was the learner segment, where was that conducted, under what domain, with an eye towards making sure it's not just suburban white kids in Illinois, right? And so we transparently report on that. We also did a large effort to develop equity guidelines, co-developed with CAST. CAST is the group that did universal design for learning. So we had a deep engagement with them to think about what are the contextual factors that we would have to consider to ensure an equitable implementation of these. And then we have specific considerations for each learning design principle and that factor. And then we also have application rubrics to support quality implementation, which are really useful for product design and various to support learning or to support accountability and evaluation, depending on how you want to play it. So, all right, I'm going to give you like a brief zoom in, buzz through some of these, and I'll pop back out. So this is our learning design portfolio. Not like 80% of these are done. Some of these are still kind of in the hopper, but this is the portfolio that we've got going on. So zooming into cognition, description of the cognition. Yes. Is there a question? That my computer doing that?
I think you can go ahead, Catherine.
Okay.
We'll take questions in the chat there. So.
Okay, I'm so sorry if there's any
no
feedback.
problem. Go.
Okay. All right. So these are our cognition ones. Let's zoom in to attention and cognitive load. So what is attention? We've got the key definitions and things here. What is cognitive load? What are the different types? Why does it matter? And then these are the big ideas, right? These are like, oh, good God, do not leave without knowing at least these 4 things about attention cognitive load for designing learning experiences. And so this, I think, is one of the most important or most valuable kind of takeaways from this portfolio, is being able to show up. These are the key things that you need to know about this literature here. For one of the big ideas here, it's about minimizing distractions. We then kind of go through a nice little research summary about what you need to know. about what that means for minimizing distractions in learning content. We highlight a couple nice research studies here. And then this is the design implications. So then if the psychology says it's important to minimize distractions, so then therefore, what does that mean for designing a learning experience? So this is where we really have that connective thread here. So we give pretty good recommendations for designing learning. We then provide
4 minutes,
okay, all right,
and then we'll do a little bit of Q&A. Go ahead.
okay, thank you. And then we got some product examples. Here are some of our CAST equity guidelines, and then some of our research metrics, just to be transparent about that. Again, these are these challenges, like why does it matter? And then some claims you might be able to make if you do that well. Now, how does this support high quality learning design? So now here you can see what's nice about this model is it starts with a high level vision of what we should be our North Star. It then steps into this toolkit here of our learning design principles. And then you can call out the key big ideas and design implications. So you can almost go check, 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 check. We did that. And we have clues for what to measure. So this, you can see, helps us scale these insights into a wide and diverse portfolio of learning products. What to end on. And again, yes, and here I want to highlight the rubrics here. This is our what we call our learning design health check, where we say, did you implement that big idea well? So this one is bringing in personalizing to a learner's prior knowledge level. And here we've just got a little nice rubric of, needs improvement. You're getting close, or this is ideal, right? So you can see lots of different use cases for this. These are sample outcomes measures and metrics. So that is quite a lot to cover, but just wanted to share that briefly, very, very briefly with you, that this portfolio our team's been working on for quite a while. And we're getting it out into the world, and I'm really eager to share this all with you, and just see how this is, can be leveraged and used by this community. So I will stop there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Catherine. And for those of you who remember that question earlier, Catherine's talk is exactly why we were thinking 1 hour webinars might make sense, because trying to do this in 20-25 minutes is nearly impossible. We have some questions in the chat. One of them I want to just take first is from Nada. So where do pedagogical models fit in here? For example, communities of practice, cognitive apprenticeship, experiential learning.
Yep, absolutely. And so this is where we did have to kind of think about how to model all of this in an accessible way, but all of those ideas are encompassed within this toolkit. So for example, experiential learning is treated in our authentic learning design principle. The communities of practice is treated within our social and collaborative learning design principle. And cognitive apprenticeship, that's treated by developing understanding and desirable difficulty and scaffolding. So yeah, so I mean, like, certainly those were all topics that we laid out on the table, and we thought, how can we kind of puzzle piece all of these together into a nice middle model? We're still encompassing this. So this is a point of entry where you can then deep dive, depending on the context and what problems you're trying to solve, down into much more specific and detailed research guidance.
Zachary also asks, so building on this work, could it be used in a constructivist or inquiry-based learning context?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I know the answer.
Yeah. Yes. The answer is yes, of course. Yeah, I come from a kind of cognitive constructivist point of view, so that's probably reflected more in how this was put together. But certainly, we incorporate many of those ideas in our social and collaborative learning idea, and then also in our scaffolding and desirable difficulty. So we try to keep this pretty general and agnostic to whatever your particular flavor of theory is, and we try to make sure to encompass and have room and space for all of those, because this needs to be flexible depending on what learning solution you're working towards, kind of what the contextual constraints of that are. So, yeah.
Yet, as a rabid constructivist, I love it as well. So, Brewer posed a question that's critical, which is how can we access the portfolio when it is completed? Do you
Yeah.
have an answer for that yet?
I do. We are
Yay.
going to be publishing it on the main Pearson efficacy website. It's just pearson.com/efficacy or something like that. You can get to it from the top level page. Um, as early as the end of next week. So I know, it's so nice that it's happening. It's real. It's real, man. So these are, yeah, we will be publishing. Unfortunately, not the full in-depth decks, but they will be about 15-page or so summary reports, which contain all the big ideas, some hints of the design implications, enough of everything I talked you through, where smart people like you could pick it up and say, "Ah, I see what they were doing," and then go from there.
I suspect Catherine, first of all, for all of you, Catherine's part of our community here. So Catherine will be around and you can ask her questions. You can, and I suspect that as that becomes available more broadly, we'll do some follow up conversation and dig down into some of the details. I'll make sure, Catherine, you get the rest of the questions that were in the chat. And you can certainly respond to those individuals. People have ideas about how they want to apply it. I think it's great. So, Catherine, great to have you as part of ICICLE, and thank you so much for presenting today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for the
And
opportunity.
doing such a quick job of it. That was amazing. Just a reminder for everybody, we look forward to you being back at the ICICLE community call next month. And the call will be on, I'm searching for that date again, the 15th of February. So look forward to seeing you all here. Great. Thanks, everybody. Take care.